Good evening. I'm Gloria, and this is Open Minds Podcast, Waking the Dead, Ghost Stories. Tonight, my guest is the one and only Fay Vale, who co-hosted with me last week on the podcast. Tonight, we have a riveting story. It is called The Uncanny Presence of Fay Compton. But before we go into the story, we would like to, an update that's just come into mine and Faye's realization is since Faye sent me the email of the ghost story of Faye Compton, Faye has had paranormal activity constantly in the house. What do you think? Do you think it's Faye Compton? What do you think? So, first of all, Faye, welcome to the show, two Fays. Welcome to the show and sharing your story. Would you share with the audience, since you sent the email, the paranormal experiences that have been happening in your home?
Okay, well, good evening, everybody. Several times in the night, I've heard bumps in the night and things have landed on the floor. I had one day, I was taking my earrings off at the end of the day and I lost one down the sofa. Couldn't find it anywhere, just presumed it was down the sofa because it wasn't under it, it wasn't anywhere. 3 days later, I'm having my shower, so I put the towel on the floor to get in the shower, taking into the fact that I'd put clean towels out. It was 3 days later, the day before I'd washed my hair, went to get in the shower, looked down at the towel, and there's my earring in the middle of the towel. How it got there after 3 days on a clean towel, and I'd washed my hair so it wasn't stuck in my hair. Of course, I got no clothes on because I was getting in the shower, so it didn't fall out of clothes. So how that happened, I don't know.
Someone put it there. What else has happened, Faye? The chain. What about the chain clanging?
Oh, God, that was scary. My husband goes to bed early because he has to get up at 2 in the morning for work. So he'd gone to bed and I sat watching a TV program and there's this most horrendous noise. It scared the hell out of me. And the only way I can describe it was if you had a metal chain and you dropped it onto a tin plate, it was that kind of noise and really loud. And so I about hit the ceiling when it went. But it seemed like it was coming from the corner of the room. Then,
I'm with you.
Yeah. Then not yesterday, but yeah, it was yesterday actually. Yesterday morning I got up and I have a big bowl on the floor, a wooden bowl with all my different crystals in. I get up in the morning and there and behold, lo and behold, in the middle of the sofa cushion where you sit is a yellow crystal.
It'd be
How
moved.
it got there, who put it there, who knows? Could it be Faye?
Well, who knows? It was when Faye started to tell me, it was I that suggested, well, I did say someone's trying to get your attention, obviously, and then it just come in my head. And I said to Faye, when did this happen? And she said, oh, it was a few weeks ago. I said, and when did you send me the email? And then the penny dropped. So we'll keep you updated. Of course, I've asked Faye just to go and have a conversation with the spirit in the house. It's not threatening. She's quite happy to have the spirit there. But they're obviously trying to get her attention by banging and doing things and moving things and bringing them back. So we will keep you updated on Faye's current paranormal activity. Now, before we go into Faye's ghost story, which is really unbelievable, I did put on Open Minds podcast page It's on my page. It's on the chat show page. 3 photographs. One photograph is of Fay Vale here when she was younger. One photograph is of her mother when she was younger. And one photograph is of Fay Compton. If you look at the photos, it is uncanny how they all look the same. You would say, I mean, more so, her mother, I say, looks more like Fay Compton than anybody. So you make that decision whether you think, is it a coincidence or not? However, once you hear Fay's ghost story, I think coincidence will be thrown to the wind, because you couldn't make this shit up. I am telling you. So I'm going to lead you in to Fay's ghost story. Fay has had a ghost that has followed her all her life. Her story begins in 1944. This was the year of her birth, and just at the end of the Second World War. Over to you, Fay.
Well, the story begins. Before I start my story, can I just say the lady in the hat on the photos is Fay Compton. The next lady is my mother, and the next one is myself.
Yeah.
Just so as you get a picture of what Fay Compton looks like.
Yeah. Good evening, Maxine. Good evening, Christine. Good evening, Rosie. Now you're going to start with as your uncle was walking down the road, yes?
That's right. My Uncle Morris, which is my mum's brother, who's passed away now, but we all knew him as Uncle Mo. He was walking along the road coming home from the war, and this lady kindly stopped her car and asked him if he wanted a lift, which I would imagine happened quite often if you saw a soldier in his uniform plodding along the road. So as they're going along in her car, they're chatting away, and she's asking him about the bits in the war and telling him about herself. And she said her name was Fay Compton. Well, the first time I came across Fay Compton, I didn't know who she was, but I can tell you a bit about her.
Mm-hmm.
She was born in 1894 and died in 1978. She was an actress and did mostly Shakespearean stuff, but she also appeared in 40 films.
Mm-hmm.
So this is quite a well-known lady who had offered him the lift. Well, she gave him a lift as far as he wanted to go. He got out the car and thanked her. And when he got back, he went straight to see my mum, his sister, because it was 1944 and I'd just been born. And he wanted to see his new niece. So as the story goes on, he got to my mum's, and of course I was the little baby. And they're chatting away, and he's telling her about the kind lady who gave him the lift, and then saying that she was the famous actress, Fay Compton.
Mm-hmm.
So mum's listening to the story, and then the conversation came up, oh, by the way, what are you going to call her? So my mum said, I want to name the new baby Virginia, which was me. But my
Virginia.
uncle, that takes some living up to, doesn't it?
It would, wouldn't it?
So my uncle said, oh, I'd love it if you named her Fay. So my mum kindly named me Fay. So that's how I got my name after Fay Compton. Well, as I got older, my mum told me the story, and I looked her up on the internet and got the first glimpse of her. But of course, like the photos, I couldn't believe how much she looked like our family.
Mm-hmm.
But it goes on. And later on in life, because I've always been spiritual and had paranormal stuff, I started a paranormal group. So we'd very often go to haunted houses.
Mm-hmm.
So this particular time, we were staying at this mansion for the weekend, what was haunted. So when you go to a haunted place for the weekend, basically what happens, we all have a book each, and we don't talk to each other. We just write down what sort of spirits we pick up, or if we pick any information up, that'll be as you walk round in the daytime. And then at the end of the weekend, we used to have a historian come, and then you would open your book and say, oh, I picked up the spirit of so and so and so and so, and then we'd all compare and see how many of us picked the same spirits up. But this particular weekend, at the end of the night, the historian said, did anyone pick up who the house belonged to? Nobody did. Yes, it was the Compton family.
Oh God, no. Her house, their house.
Yeah.
Fay Compton's house. You had no idea.
No,
when...
of course, no.
Oh my Lord.
So weekend in her family home.
In her family home. So you've got obviously the first contact with your uncle getting a lift from this lady. And the name Virginia will become very relevant later on in the story. And your uncle saying change it to Fay for the kind act, which he did. Then on your paranormal journey, you go to a haunted house, you know nothing about it, and then you find out it was a Compton's family home. How did it click then something was afoot?
Oh, it gave me the creeps when she announced whose house it was. I thought, I don't believe that, but it was. But
gosh.
So it goes on, and my daughter's quite a good artist, but she does lots of pencil drawings of old film stars and people like that. And she'd rang me in the week and she said, Mom, she said, I've really got this thing in my head all the while that I must draw Rudolph Valentino. And she said, I don't know why. She said, but I keep getting told to draw him. So she did this amazing drawing of him. And then she said, I'm going to do some research on him. So she starts researching Rudolph Valentino, which was an old 20s, 30s heartthrob, another film star.
Yeah.
And she's reading his life story. And he was married to a lady called Natasha Ramborn. I think she was Russian. Guess what? She attended the high-class ladies' school with Fay Compton.
Oh, God.
So Fay Compton came up again and she rang me and she said, you're never going to believe this, Mum. I said, what? She said, the link from Rudolph Valentino's led to Fay Compton again.
Wow.
How bizarre is that?
You can still, anyone in the audience listening now or on a replay, you can still, if you want, say, oh, just another coincidence. However, there were many more to come. Do go on, Fay.
So this isn't the end of it, because that urged me to look up again Fay Compton. So I'm looking up again all the stuff about Fay Compton. Guess what? Her name was originally Virginia.
Oh my God. Her name was originally Virginia. Remember, guys, her mother wanted to call her baby Virginia, and the uncle said, no, Fay. Oh, come on, you really can't make this shit up. That is spooky. I mean, come on, Fay. What did you think?
Well, apparently, Virginia Compton didn't like her name, so she changed it to Fay. Mine was going to be Virginia, and because Fay Compton picked my uncle up, he persuaded my mum to change from Virginia to Fay. That is so creepy.
That is more than creepy. You couldn't make it up. Do go on. Oh, my Lord.
So the last bit I'm going to tell you is when I looked her up, her middle name is Lillian. Fay Compton's middle name is Lillian.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what my mum's middle name is?
I'm gonna do a guess. Lillian.
You're spot on.
I mean, say
you can't make it up.
You can't. I mean, that is synchronicity after synchronicity after synchronicity. You know, when you look at that, and also what we've added that wasn't in the original email tonight, that since you contacted me with your ghost story in your new home, because you've moved to Glastonbury from another area, these paranormal events are happening. But the weirdest thing is, Faye said earlier on that you tell the audience what your daughter said when you moved into the house, when you mentioned about the paranormal activity, that she didn't want to mention it.
Oh, she said, well, we only spoke about this the other day, and I was telling her about the crystal on the sofa, and she said, when I first went in your house, Mum, she said, I had a feeling, she said, but I didn't say anything to you because you were just moving in a new home. She said, but I think there's a lady there.
I mean, come on, guys. Someone is waiting for, it. I mean, you've got to connect with this spirit, one. And I'm telling you, I will be totally blown away. Not surprised though if somehow it's connected to Fay Compton.
Well, I tell you what, it's given me the shivers just telling the story, because you don't very often speak it out loud, and when you do, you realise how spooky it is, especially the names as well, and
the names. I mean, you, as I said, it's like, I don't know, how would you describe that? You were going to be Virginia, then it was changed to Fay. She was Virginia, and she changed it to Fay. The same. She has the same middle name, Lillian, as your mother's Lillian. I mean, really, this, and then you've even your daughter's being brought into this story. She being an artist, compelled to a drawing of another famous actor. So she obviously did her research, as you would, and found there's a connection to Fay Compton there.
Again,
I've got to ask anyone in the audience, Maxine, Christine, Rosie, Nikki, anyone, what do you think's going on? But first of all, Fay, what do you think's happening?
Do you know, I have really thought that maybe I was connected to them, maybe in a past life or something, because it's not just that, it's the actual photos as well. We're all so much alike.
Genetically, you look like you're connected genetically.
I mean, if you saw those, you'd think that they were family members.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe it, how much she was like our family.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at them, it looks like grandmother, mother, and granddaughter. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
In the photographs, that is what it looks like. The resemblance is so uncanny, but the fact in the connection with the names, it's like someone's really trying to get your attention. Rosemary Bygrave says she reckons it's past life connections.
Yeah, quite. I've thought that myself, but it is odd that we look the same.
Nikki says 2 worlds meeting in one. I like that. 2 worlds, so we say 2 timelines crossing. I like that.
Yeah.
That's a good one too.
Yeah,
any other suggestions? Because you know what, Faye has no bloody idea what's going on. We're asking you. Throw out your ideas, because as you know, I just said to Faye, I think she's in the house now, and that's why things are moving and banging since you sent me the email. I mean, one and one does make two. But what is going on? So it could be past lives. It could be past lives together. However, they look genetically the same. That's really eerie. Is that a fluke? Maybe not. Two worlds colliding, two timelines, but still, how do we explain, everybody, the synchronistic aspect of this story? Now, for me, reading into this, obviously with the attention someone's trying to get now off you, is there's got to be a message somewhere. There has to be a reason for these occurrences. I mean, deep down, what do you think? Come on, deep down, Faye. What's going on?
I don't know. I really don't know, but I just feel that there's such a strong connection. And it won't be the last time she'll pop up, because she pops up all the while, quite unexpectedly,
In different aspects of your life.
Yeah, a bit of information that pops up now and again, and
so when she was alive, that was in 1944, when she was alive then, when she met your uncle, and she didn't know him from Harry, but for some reason a famous actress picks up your uncle to take him home.
Yeah,
there's the first connection synchronistically, and that set off in motion this timeline. Now, I've got to ask you, not that I'm going to divulge your age.
Well, I ain't bothered. It is what
I know you're not, nor am I. How long has this been going on with Fay Compton? Tell the audience.
76 years.
76 years. Fay Vale, even though she doesn't look it, and I'm really cross with her, she looks like it. This has been going on for 76 years. So I've suggested to Faye, someone's really trying to get your attention. Come on, you're dragging it out, Faye. You're dragging it out. She's got a message for you, or there's something that you're going to find out. Rosie says they want the connection as they are drowned. I can't see, I'm blind as a bat. They are, not drowned. I do apologize, Rosie, drawn. They want the connection as they are drawn to you from the past.
Oh, maybe,
maybe. Yeah, that resonates, doesn't it? I would say from another timeline, yeah, I would. And if this is an English show, so I can't read other languages, if you want to leave a message. That's a good one from Rosie. They want the connection as they are drawn to you from the past. Now,
maybe I am their past. Maybe I like, because of everything that happened, she is like a family member to me, because she's just there.
Yeah.
But maybe if you go back in past lives, maybe a past life I had, the same connection was where she is and where I am. So I was the person who picked the person up, and then she became Fay Compton instead of Virginia Compton, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, I understand you. I was just about to say, what do you think, guys in the audience, and Fay? Maybe it was you.
Yeah, maybe it was.
Maybe it was you. I mean, this is something that we all need to think about. So let's say that we'll look at Rosie's one. Even though I like the two timelines colliding, I like that as well. They're drawn to you because they want to connect with you from the past. Well then, guys in the audience, come on, and Fay, what would be the reason? 76 years since the day she was born, Fay Compton has been in Fay Vale's life with the synchronicities. Why would she want to connect with you?
The thing is as well, my daughter who does the sketches, she trained in theatre at university, and she worked in the theatre for a few years. So there's another connection. That
your daughter working in a theatre, Fay Compton.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah,
theatre. She did makeup, and she did costumes. She did set design. She did all the things connected to
in the theatre.
And
Fay Vale was Shakespearean actress as well as film actress, but she was in the theatre.
Yeah, you see, there's another link.
Another link. Your daughter in the theatre, and she's acting drama, and Fay Compton in the theatre. You see, so this is this is.
Let me tell you something else as well.
Go for it.
My granddad, who I never met because he passed away at the age of 42.
Yeah.
Which is my mum's father.
Yeah.
He had a part-time weekend job at theatre as well.
He had a what?
He used to work at the theatre at the weekends part-time.
Another.
Oh my Lord! There's loads of theatre connection.
Load of theatre connection. I mean, maybe in another timeline, another lifetime, you were all a theatre group. Who knows? I could say
there's so many connections. It's just crazy.
So, if anyone has any suggestions, I mean, so far, Nikki and Rosie have brought up some really good possibilities of what's going on. But now, guys, you have the connection that her daughter worked in a theatre, okay? And her granddad worked in a theatre. I mean, where is this going to go? Faye, you've never worked in a theatre, have you?
No, I've not, but I do like going to the theatre. I just love it.
I mean, I've got to try and work out the name. I mean, the names. It reminds me, of when I was born, and my mother had a name for me. I think it was supposed to be Susan, okay, right, or something like that. I'm an Irish family, so it was to be an Irish name. I was the baby of the family, and all my siblings had Irish names. My cousins, every Tom, Dick, and Harry, had an Irish name, first name with the Irish surname. And apparently, a vicar walked up to my mother's bed after she'd given birth to me, and he said, "You are to call her Gloria." And that's how I got the name. And I found this out later on in life with my Irish family. Why am I the only one? Am I yours? Why don't I have an Irish name? You've given all the children. And I was told a vicar. Now, my mother was not religious in any shape or form. And I think now that is really, really weird. Really weird. And when I did some research on my childhood a couple of years ago, I got my older daughter to assist me. I contacted an all-girls school that I went to in Hampshire when I left London, and when I got hold of them, they said there was no record of you ever attending here. If that's not paranormal, I don't know what is. It gets worse.
Wow.
And I said no, and they said there was a great fire, and your records burnt. I'm going, right, okay. Okay. And then I thought, I did exist. I know I did. So I contacted the local education authority, the council in Hampshire.
Yeah.
I said, you will have a record of me, Gloria Canning, going to the school. And in them days, they weren't GCSEs. I don't know what they were called, CSEs or whatever they were, because it was secondary or girls. And they got back to me 1 or 2 weeks later at 2 phone calls. We cannot find you anywhere. I don't exist. So I love, now you understand why I love the paranormal. Now we've got, let's see. Rosie says, Faye, it's your It's all your family from the 1800s.
Oh, wow, that's interesting.
That's a good one because me and Rosie love the Victorian era. I'm in love with Victorian era. I don't know why. Um, um, Nikki says, I know this sounds daft, but could it be some spiritual illusion? Spiritual, not when it's physical, Nikki. A spiritual illusion is when you think you've seen something and you're not sure if it's a spirit or not. But we have dates of birth, we have names on birth certificates, we have it all verified and validated. But a good question we need to ask the skeptical questions. It's provable. It's all provable through documentation. So Fay Compton did exist. You can go and have a look. And Fay Vale's here with me on the show. She does exist. So yes, but I think you exist because I certainly don't exist. They've erased my childhood. I mean, I didn't go to school apparently at all and do anything at all, which is, what can I say? Nikki says, okay, thank you. And this is one story that we can use validation and evidence it. Okay, we can't say this is, you couldn't debunk this story because it's provable by data. So, what about Rosie's idea? It's your family from the 1800s that you're not aware of.
Well, it could well be. It'd be interesting to.
Have you ever done a family tree?
Yeah, I have, but mine goes all over the place because my father's mum came from Toronto in Canada.
Uh-huh.
And so I don't know an awful lot about her. And
what about your mother's side?
Yeah, I have done that, but they're all because I'm originally from Leicester. They're all from Leicester, but we have got in Leicester there is roads named after my grandma and granddad. So my mum's family was quite well off, shall I say, whereas my dad's family were. My dad was always classed as a scruffy.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
My mum's family were quite posh, so quite well off.
So they had. What happened with you then?
Well, yeah, that's right. I always thought I were adopted, so there were never any photos of me.
No, there's no photos of me. There is one photo that was allowed. There's no school photographs ever taken of me, believe it or not. And there's only one photo of me in existence. And I actually remember this photograph. And it was back in the day in London, a photographer would go knocking on the doors. Do you want a photo? I'll take a picture in old camera, old. I'm not that old, but old. And I remember being covered in mud, all messed up with my kilt on, Irish family, my bard, and, short, fat thing. And I remember this man taking the photograph. And back in the day, because it wasn't very good camera equipment, they rose the cheeks up and made you look so stupid. It was unbelievable. Anyway, it's the only one in existence. There is no photographs official of me at all. They've all gone, bar this one I have. I have that one photograph, and that was me. So I knew I existed at some point. But I was going to ask you, have you found a connection between Fay Compton, or have you looked, and Leicester?
No, I've not seen one for Leicester. I think there's one for Northampton, which isn't that far from Leicester.
So it could be, because I like I could be wrong, but I'm throwing out my theory. I think there's a family connection. I agree with Rosie, because you all look alike genetically.
That's what's spooky about it, let alone the names. The fact that you look at it and you think, wow, they're very much alike.
the DNA, you can see it. I would say grandmother, mother, and granddaughter. And but the names, I mean, what happens, guys, with every family? Do we not pass down the names?
Of course we do.
We always do it. But what is the weirdest thing for me is you were going to be called Virginia, and because your uncle met the actress, he said Fay.
Yeah.
Fay was Fay Compton was originally called Virginia Compton. She didn't want that name, that identity, so she went to Fay. I mean, and then you've still got the middle name between Fay Compton, aka Virginia Compton, and your mother. You can't. There's the mind can't hack that. I'm telling you, Fay. It's too eerie. I mean, and since sending me the email, paranormal events are happening in your home. I mean,
maybe she's glad that the story's come out.
Maybe, but I think it's got to be bigger than that, because I like to make it bigger than that. It's a case. I mean, I think if you had family connections in the Victorian times and the spirit world, which is Fay, you hadn't realized that maybe that's the reason they're bringing that to your attention. Could be. And to your daughter. You all seem to be, you and your daughter and your mother are like reenacting their era of Victorian era.
That's
very
right.
Similar, isn't it? You're like, you're I mean, we can't say you're Fay Compton, because she was alive when you were born. When did she die?
She died in 1978, so she would have been like, I was born 44, so 94, that's 6 years, so 44, she would have been 50 then.
She died very young. Do you know what she died of?
No. Oh, that's right, she would have. No, I don't know. I did read it, but I can't remember it. I don't think it was anything really bad.
How old were you?
Born 94 and died 78. So how old would that make her? 78. No, she would have been 80 odd.
I was going to say that's a bit young to die.
She would have been 84 when she died.
Right, 84, and you're 76. Right. So how old were you?
I was just reckoning up how old she'd have been when she picked my uncle up, and she would have been 50, would she? 94, 44.
But how old were you? Hold on, guys. Excuse me, and Fay. When she died, how old were you, Fay?
Oh, I know. God knows.
We got to investigate this.
I'd have been 50 odd one time.
You would have
78, 80. Yeah, 41.
And you don't
I'd
recall
have been 43 when she died.
Okay. And you don't recall, when you were 43 years old, any paranormal experience happening to you?
Not anything that stands out, but then
well,
I've
there
always
you go.
had paranormal stuff all my life.
So again, guys, if you've got any other suggestions, can you please explain away, if you can, what's happening in Fay Vale's? Please go to life. She's been haunted for 76 years. 76 years. It's the longest haunting I've ever heard of in my life. And it's still continuing, because she sent me an email and shared the story of Fay Compton. And now she's got hauntings in her house, and things are moving and noises and banging. So I've never known a ghost story go on for that long. But what's going on in your house is not bothering you at all, no?
No, I don't feel it's anything horrible. I don't feel there's a bad presence there or anything. And if it wants to be, well, my daughter thinks it's a lady, so it could well be Fay, but
it could be, well,
it could be here. I'm not bothered.
You know, like you've spoke about it now, and it's been made public, and we're out in the open. Where I'm taking this conversation is, there could be a possibility, and we won't know now, but many of your many of your paranormal experiences could have been Fay Compton, because why I'm suggesting this theory is the fact that when you went on your paranormal night in this building, this house, you had no idea you were in the deceased Fay Compton's home.
No, not a clue. Not a clue. You could have knocked me down with a feather when that woman said, anybody know whose house it is? And they all went, no, the Comptons. It used to be the Comptons.
So again, that connection, you're drawn everywhere. You're drawn to it, and your daughter as well. But you're drawn even to a building, and you had no idea it was her home.
No. No,
as again, I say it again, expletives, you couldn't make this shit up. Anyone in the audience, you need to get your detective hats on, because we need to resolve this. It's been going on for 76 years. It's the longest haunting ever I've known of. I mean, when you was in, did you have, all right, so let's go back to when you went into Fay Compton's house. You didn't know it was her house. You had experiences in the house. Well, do you recall any of the experiences that you wrote down that in hindsight you could say were related to Fay Compton when you found out it was her actual home?
Not really, no. I wouldn't have connected any of them to her. The main spirit in the house was a priest, because it was such an old house. That it had a priest hole, which used to be like a secret cupboard where when they was trying to kill the priest could hide.
Yeah.
And we did a seance one night, and the priest came through because we was trying to find the priest hole. We knew there was one there, but we couldn't find it. So we were in the library part of it, doing a circle thing to see if we can speak to the spirit. And we had flashes coming in the room, and during the flash, somebody got taken over, which was quite scary because we were sitting in the dark in a haunted house.
As you do.
We were told to go into the kitchen, and we went in the kitchen, and we was guided towards the pantry door, and we opened the pantry door and discovered there was another false door at the back.
Yeah.
When we pulled the door open, the priest hole was there. So the ghost led us straight to it.
So that the home, Fay Compton's home, would have been a Victorian home, but it would have, but however, the Inquisition was way before she was born, was it not? Or was it? Was she? No. No, that was way before that. So, my God, that building must have been extremely old to have a priest hole in it.
Oh, it was, but it was beautiful. It had been, I mean, people were living there now, but it wasn't the Comptons. The Comptons used to live there.
Yeah.
But, it was originally the Comptons' house.
So I being me, because I love a conspiracy theory, even a ghostly one.
I mean, the Comptons were quite wealthy because the father had been an actor, and the mother had done several things, and Fay Compton's son became a producer. So it all it all ended up as a wealthy family.
Yeah.
So the house fitted the family, really.
So they would have purchased this very expensive ancient home with its ghosts in situ, obviously. But I'm just looking at, you're not an actress. However, you are on the stage with the work that you do, are you not?
Yeah, in a way, yeah.
I mean, you do. You have your conferences. You do your talks, your lectures, you go on to podcasts, you've been on my shows. I mean, I'm not trying to make anything fit. I'm looking, how can we really work out what is going on for 76 years? Faye's brought into the world, and it starts there by rewind, by them giving her Faye's name. And that is eerie enough for me to start with. Eventually going into a house, and that you had no idea, there again. And the names, I think I'm going to more towards Rosie, I think, with it's your ancestors. I mean, you said your mother and was from a wealthy family.
Yeah.
Is there a possibility there's a connection there? Could your mother's side be the black sheep of the family, or
I don't
you
know.
don't know?
I don't know.
I mean, I think there's a definite DNA connection there. That's just Gloria's theory. For the audience, you can either write in the chat, or if you watch this, listen to this show, sorry, on a rewind, email me at openmindspodcast@outlook.com of your thoughts. What is going on with this 76-year-old ghost story? And it's still going on. It's still going on. I mean, I'm sure there would have been multiple. When did this really come to your attention? What was happening? At what point did you think? Was it at the house, or
It was
when you
at
do?
the house, really, because it wasn't till I was older that my mum shared the story about how I got my name.
Yeah.
We was just chatting one day, and she said, "Oh, I was going to call you Virginia," and I said, "Oh, I'm glad you didn't call me that."
Yeah.
And then she told me the story. And then several years later, when I was doing my paranormal stuff, that happened, that I was in her house. But so that made me interested in her and seeing what she looked like. Of course, I was a bit shocked when I saw how much she was like our family.
Yeah. I mean, really, your mum and her are identical.
Massive shivers when I found the names out, which was ridiculous. And then it wasn't till later that I realised that her middle name was Lillian and my mum's middle name was Lillian. I thought, no, there's another connection. And then my daughter's drawing Rudolph Valentino, only to find out that his wife went to the posh ladies' school with I mean, she must have gone with loads of people, but when you read it, it just says she went with the famous Fay Compton. Well, why would you just put Fay Compton? She was meant to read that.
She was meant to read that. I've got to ask this question. I mean, I've got to be devil's advocate here. I mean, I can't be, actually. I'm just going to ask the question because
you just know
it's just too much evidence here. What is your mother's name?
My mother's name's Elsie. Elsie Lillian.
Elsie Lillian. Well, Elsie, there's no other Elsies but the Lillian, and Faye's middle name is Lillian.
No, Mum's middle name is Lillian and Fay Compton's is.
Oh, I'm getting confused all the bloody Fays now. Elsie's name is Elsie Lillian.
Lillian, which is my mum.
And Fay it's Fay Lillian Compton. There we go. Yeah. I mean, you really got to get your head around this. And Fay, I can't. I can't.
I'm the same. The only other thing I can think of is that maybe Fay Compton's one of my guides.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I seem to bump into her all the while, and you get these synchronicities, and they're not just something that appears out of thin air. It's something.
Okay. I can say that's a possibility. However, devil's advocate here, you all look the bloody same. People say they got their guys, but their guys look nothing like them.
That's true.
So, let's not, just throw it out there. I mean, but no, I would respectfully disagree with that theory, because your guides don't look like you. She's more to you. I really think there's a connection ancestral. It's got to be. And she's trying to get hold of you. Until this day, she's still Well, you sent me the email, didn't you? And then you got the paranormal experiences happening in your new home. Don't blame me, nothing to do with me, guys. But before I tell you, this has been fascinating, Faye, and the discussion is not going to stop here. And if Faye has any more paranormal experiences with Faye Compton, I will update you. Don't worry. Before we close this evening, I've got to let you know next week we have case number 5. Now, listen very closely to the title. The title of this is another show, another podcast you do not want to miss. Next week's podcast, Open Minds, Waking the Dead Ghost Stories, case number 5, When Murder Travels Through Time. Think about that. When murder travels through time. What do you think about that, Fay Vale? It's going to be
fascinating.
It's going to be scary. When murder travels through time. Next week, and I have the one and only lovely Michael Fearley sharing this ghost story. He's been on my show a few times. It's fascinating. And it's another one like Fay's. You can't make this up. Concluding tonight, Fail. Can't get your name right with all these names. Lillian, Fail, and I can't. I mean, the names are confusing me. It doesn't take much, and I'm confused. I've got to say, listening to your ghost story, and it's all evidence-based and provable. I have no answer. None. It could be. I like the idea that it's, DNA connected. Why would she be with you for 76 years?
Well, I must be doing something right.
Well, you must be. Right now. I keep thinking she's got something to tell you. Faye, would you please do a seance or something and find out what the information is? I just said to Faye, I just said to her, look, just sit down with this spirit and have a conversation. I told her before we went on camera, just have a conversation, find out what, because I'm so intrigued with this. This is fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating. But if it gets too hectic in the house, there's always the sage. But I've got this strange intuitive feeling that now you broadcast her story live around the world on my show, it's going to get really active down in Glastonbury.
You do know I've got to go sleep tonight.
I know, and you do know I love you lots. But hey, do you know what I mean? I mean, come on. I mean, I told Faye this evening, before we went onto the podcast, when I mentioned the gentleman in my bungalow wanted to find his wife, I forgot to say prior to that, before I made contact with him and I gave up his wife's location, I do hope he wasn't a hard husband, because he's got her now. In spirit, it's even worse. I had banging and noises in my loft. I'd moved in, and there was movement going across the loft. And I don't mind spirits, being who I am, but I had this idea there was like a serial killer in the loft. So I got my friend Dale, as you do, paranoia, as you do. Single lady in a bungalow in a village, noises in, and I thought, well, no, I did start, it's a bird, it's a squirrel, it's Batman and all that stuff. But I got my friend Dale, would you please go in the loft, go and have a look and tell me if there's a serial killer hanging out. And he lifted the hatch, he looked with a torch, he couldn't see no humans there. But in hindsight now, I can now understand trying to get my attention, until finally he did, and I saw him. So, it's got to happen to you, Faye.
I don't mind talking with Faye.
Rosie's put down a lovely adventure of time. I mean, what an
That's really
adventure.
nice way to say it, that is. I like that.
See, Faye says, Rosie, that's a really nice way to say it. A lovely adventure of
It
time.
is.
It is, I mean, it is an adventure and it's ongoing, current. You know, who has a spirit with them, the connection, intimate connection, and still to this day, putting crystals on her sofa, lifted them out of the bowl on the floor and placing them on the sofa on the seat where she sits. Like, hello, I'm here. Faye, you need to talk to me.
Well,
Oh,
it
you
was
got
the same that she found my missing earring and gave it back.
Yeah, she found your missing. Well, maybe you didn't lose your missing earring. Maybe she took it.
Well, she could have well done. Because if you remember right, that very same day when my earring went missing was when I saw that woman go by the house in the car.
Oh yes,
She just gone by. That was the same day.
that was the same day because I remember you
Yeah,
telling
it
me.
was. It was.
Before we go, share with the audience the day the earring went missing that the spirit brought back on the clean towel. Yeah, share with the audience what happened with the lady in the car because that was amazing too.
Oh, that blew me away. What happened was my dining room table was up the window and on the front window, and I was having my breakfast, and this lady drove by the house really slowly on the road in front of me, and she was in an estate car, and I remember now she had a like brown hair and she had a puffer jacket on. She was driving with one hand and had the other hand on her face. So
Mm-hmm.
because she was going by slowly, I sort of looked at her. But because she had her hands on her face, I presumed that she was looking for an address somewhere. But the split second, the back end of her car disappeared out of sight. The next one came along and it was her again, exactly the same, like an action replay. And it was within 4 seconds, it came back again exactly the same. And it was like a massive flip in time, just like action replay. There it is, straight away. It was there again. And I thought, wow, that blew me away because that's never happened to me before.
Because we spoke about that. So that's the same day that the earring went missing. And that was the day I said to you, I do relate with that because when I was in my apartment, I was sitting on the sofa which faced the door and the hallway where the front door to come in would be and my daughter's bedroom. And I was sitting there, I was on my laptop because I was at uni at the time doing my stuff. And I heard the front door shut, someone come in. I looked up, I saw my daughter come round the corner and go into her bedroom. I put my head back down. I heard the door again. Seconds later, my daughter come round the corner and go in the bedroom. I jumped up. You would have thought I've had a lifetime of this stuff, but still. I jumped up, went to her room, I said, what are you doing? You just came in before. How did you do that? And she looked at me like, Mother, no, I've just come in now. I haven't done it twice. They know me. And I remember saying that to you, that happened to me too. So going back to you, I mean, these experiences, guys, they're very common, but not many people share them. That was the same day that your earring disappeared. How long after did it reappear? Do you remember?
3 days later.
3 days later.
In the
On a
bathroom,
clean
nowhere
towel.
near in the lounge. Nowhere near in the front room, no.
So how that would have been, she's getting ready to have a shower. She's got clean towels out. She's butt naked, by the way, so it can't fall off her. She's not washing her hair or anything like that. She puts the towel down and she's just getting ready to go into the shower. She looks down to the clean towel and there's her earring that disappeared 3 days before.
It was smack in the middle of the towel. There's no way.
Anyone in the audience can explain that, or if you're watching this on a replay, if you've got any theories, because this Fay Vale is spooky action at a distance, contact me at openmindspodcast@outlook.com. Do you know what, Faye? I've got to say thank you so much for coming on. It's an ongoing ghost story with you. And yes, I know you have to go to sleep tonight, but you can do this, you know.
Well, I mean, talking about the blip in time that happened the same day the earring went, could that have been Faye Compton saying, "Oh, what's happened to you is a blip in time between the pair of us"?
It could, yeah, we could throw that one in. But the blip in time, which I call time slips,
Yeah.
it could be all of the above. You're seeing something before it occurs, or the deja vu. You could call it anything you want. But when I found that when let's have it, paranormal things like this happen, like the time slips or the overlaps of two timelines, or ET contact even causes intense paranormal activity, as if the timelines and everything's getting overlaid and mixed up. Yeah. And just for, it could be for 4 seconds, it could be for slightly longer. I mean, something's occurring with the reality when that happens of the individual. So it could, it maybe to move the earring, for the spirit to move the earring and take it, a time slip had to happen. I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there. And that's why you witnessed the same thing repeat itself. And why that resonates, I mean, I like I know the film The Matrix is fictional, so they say, who knows, but the black cat, and I've had that, the cat, I had it, Faye, I had it the other day again.
Did you really?
Yeah. The cat, my daughter's cat, I sat here, it came through, I could see, I was waiting for it to come in so I could run and shut the back door. It came in, it walked through the hallway into my bedroom. I thought, quick, shut the door. And I ran out there, locked the door, and I had this feeling there was no cat anywhere in the house. Right. I opened the door and there was a cat. It came in and went exactly, you know. And a lot of that, what I'm trying to do here is, many events like this are well recorded. When there's ET contact, which you are an ET contactor as well, you get the paranormal. However, this is spirit. And to me, there is no difference if it's spirit or ET. There's just no difference.
That's right.
It's still, and when they come into our space, something happens which allows what we label paranormal experiences. So tonight, if you start levitating, I mean, did you say to me earlier on, was it you that said, oh no, someone else told me they woke up and in the middle of the night and there was a woman stood by their bed and they went, oh, like that. It's happening a lot to everybody. So Faith, again, I can't thank you enough for everything. It's just been fantastic. One of the best so far.
Thank you for allowing me to tell it.
Oh, you're more than welcome. And of course, the detective ghost hunters, the spirit hunters in the chat are going to be on it with all their theories. And please return and share with us any updates, okay, of your 76-year ghost. I was going to say, not ghost story. I was going to say you've got a ghost stalker there. Do you know what I mean? It's like, yeah.
She's nice, though.
As long as she's nice, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Well, I'm Gloria. This is Open Minds Podcast, Waking the Dead Ghost Stories. Thank you for listening. Please email me at openmindspodcast@outlook.com if you have a ghost story or if you would like to comment on tonight's show. Until the next time and the next conversation next Saturday with the amazing ghost story. Until then, goodbye.